Do you have spray stains and inks in your collection, but you just don't know what to do with them? All right, grab a box, grab a stencil, and grab your sprays. We're going to get started with this mysterious medium. Every technique video is narrated live while I'm doing the technique, so you're getting a real-time view of how the whole process works. Pull out the supplies I'm using and create right along with me, pausing as you need. Before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. Spray stains and ink sprays are really cool, but a lot of times you'll get them into your collection and then have no idea how to use them. So we're going to start today with a simple technique, and that's just to use stencils to get images onto paper with your spray stains. So I always recommend having a box, or this is a Splat Box, or any kind of cardboard box, so you can control your spray and you don't get it all over your area. I also like to put down a little bit of paper toweling to help soak it up, because this box is just untreated cardboard. It is going to get wet and mushy. So putting some paper toweling in the bottom does help. And I also wear gloves. These are latex gloves that I use over and over and over again until they get holes in them and I can't use them anymore. So they don't go to waste. And I've got some cardstock here. I'm going to do some colored cardstock in the end, but we're going to start with white. And I have some stencils. You can use any kind of stencil. They do not have to be sprayed on the back with any kind of temporary adhesive. You can just go ahead and spray right over them. If you want to have a more crisp line, you may want to add some spray adhesive to the back. Check out my video on how to make your own adhesive so you don't have to worry about getting those noxious fumes in your room. But you're just going to go ahead and put your stencil right over your paper and then pick a spray stain to start with. So I've got a couple different kinds here. I've got a Distress Oxide spray and then 2 Distress spray stains. And I picked out some colors that would work well together. So this is black, and then I've got Salvaged Patina and Peacock Feathers. Both of these are going to work great together. So the very simplest thing that you can do is take your spray stain and just spray over your stencil. The more you spray, the darker the image is going to turn out. So you could just do 2 simple spritzes like that and get a little bit of lighter and darker, and this is going to look really great. So if I pull this up just a little bit, you'll see that you're going to get a really cool look with that. But look, there is a little bit of overflow. It is going to seep underneath your stencil. So you don't want to go too crazy with this, because it is just going to seep underneath and not give you the clean look that perhaps you're looking for. So I'm just going to leave it just like this. So at its simplest, I can pull off my stencil, and this is what I'm going to get. So it is definitely sprayed. I mean, it looks like it was done with some spray paint or something like that. And it gives you the idea from the stencil. Really, really nice look. Okay, so we're not adding any water. We're not doing any kind of watercolor techniques or anything. But look, I've got all this great ink on here. So I don't want to waste it. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to put it right on my cardstock. And that's going to soak right into the paper. Then I'm going to take another color. I'm going to take the Salvaged Patina. Actually, no, I'm going to take the black. And I'm going to do the in-between. So again, I'm just going to do a light spray once, twice, maybe 3 times. It just kind of depends on where the spray ends up and where you want it to end up. The further away you hold it, the better. You're going to get more of a mist. All right, so now I can go ahead and lift this up. Now you can do this process over and over and over again, because now I have black on this side. And if I wanted to put it on another piece of cardstock, I could do that. So I've got the blue that transferred from the original spray, and then I've got the black on here. Now, if I want to see what that's going to look like with maybe a little bit more black and a little bit more blue, I'm going to flip this over. This has got a ton of black on it. I'm going to pop this right down onto my card again. And I did just flip this over, right? So this is just a sample. But if I was going to do this in real life, I probably wouldn't flip it over, because the ink might seep through at some point. And then I'm going to try some more of this Peacock Feathers. All right, so now I've got the black and the Peacock Feather. And if I'm done here and I didn't feel like I get really good contact of the stencil, I can go ahead and take a piece of paper toweling and just go right over the top. You could always also take a piece of cardstock and go right over the top and you would have gotten this on there. So as you can see, you can just keep going and going and going with this technique. Really can kind of like never end. Right, so here's what it looks like. We had more black on here. We've got the peacock feathers on here. So that's a really cool look. So this was with the more. This was with just a little bit of blue left over on the stencil. I think I really prefer this. I think that looks really cool. So I'll go ahead and let this dry. All right, so let's do the same concept, but with some colored cardstock. So again, we kind of have to start with something. So let's start with the black. So this is going to be black on gray. It's going to look really nice and dramatic. And again, just as few or as many spritzes as you want. So that's pretty good. And this first one is just going to be the black on gray. And lift that up carefully. And this is stunning. This is absolutely gorgeous, and it's going to be a really, really great background for a project. Or it can be cut up and used with dyes, all sorts of different things, but this is going to look absolutely gorgeous. All right, so I've got a second piece here. And again, I'm going to flip this over. I'm not adding any water or anything to it. So I've got that flipped over. And this time I'm going to use my Salvage Patina spray. So this you definitely want to make sure that you get it agitated because it does have the oxidation in it. So we'll spray that up. And we're going to do the same thing. So the cool thing about the distress sprays is that because they are semi-opaque, they are going to really keep their color on colored paper. So isn't that just stunning? The black just kind of hit in a couple of places, and then I've got this blue on top of it. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. And again, I can just keep going over and over until I am done creating the projects that I wanted to make. For our last sample, I'm going to show you that this can be done on vellum too. Now, what I've done with my vellum is I've just got this piece of vellum here and a piece of white cardstock, and I just have them temporarily taped together. So that way, when it gets wet, it doesn't curl up, because this is going to curl up. Vellum is very particular about that kind of thing. So let's do some of the same techniques that we had going on before. I'm going to start off with the Salvage Patina. Now I think I'm going to do like a little mix of the Salvage Patina and the peacock feather. So this one is just going to be a single, just like we've done before. So a little spray of some Salvage Patina and the peacock feathers. So we've got a mix here of oxide and just regular spray stain. So that is going to give this a little bit of a different look with the two of them on here. All right, so I just wanted to show you what that's going to look like. But let me get this kind of started first. So I've got my second piece ready to go here. I'm going to pick this up and flip it over so it can start doing its thing. All right, and here is the result of the first one. Now, it doesn't look like much because I've got that white background on it. But if I lift this up very gently here, you'll see that now I've got this really cool vellum piece that has this pattern on it that's unbelievable. So what I'm going to do is just flip this over and tack it down. So that way it doesn't curl up. All right, so that was my first one. This one now I've got down on my paper. And I really want to make sure that I get good contact. So I am going to take a paper towel and just smush down a little bit first to get some good contact. Now I'm going to do the cool thing and add in some black. There we go. So again, I can flip this over and continue on the same journey doing all that cool stuff, or I can just be done and put it down on a piece of paper toweling here. And let's lift this up and see what we've got. So again, I do have this on a piece of white cardstock. So right now it just looks kind of plain, but when I lift this up, now you can see I'm going to have this really cool transparent pattern on this piece of vellum. So again, I'll just go ahead and flip this over to stick it down on my paper. Now these can be heat set. They're not going to bubble up or do anything kind of funky. You can, and I would actually recommend on the vellum heat setting it so that it doesn't take as long to dry. So after just a few minutes of drying time, you will have some beautiful backgrounds to get started with. You can create so many different things from these. They can be just backgrounds for cards. They can be elements that are die cut. They can go into a junk journal or any other kind of mixed media project. But once you get started with this, you're going to wonder why you didn't pull these off the shelf sooner. I hope you enjoyed this technique and you add it into your toolbox sometime soon. When you give it a try, share it out on Instagram and tag me at NicoleWatt I always love to see what your creative mind is thinking. Thank you so much for spending a little time with me today. And until next time, happy crafting.